All right, so you're ready to jump into Arkham Horror,
Yeah.
the card game,
Yeah.
but that rule book.
Oh, yeah.
A little intimidating, right?
Definitely.
We get it. It can be. That's why we're here. We're going to dive deep into that rule book with you.
Yep.
And we're going to pull out all the important stuff you need to know to start playing.
Absolutely.
Consider this your express ticket to fighting cosmic horror.
Card game style.
Yes.
The cool thing about this game is it weaves together card play with a longer campaign.
Okay.
You're not just playing one-off games.
Right.
Instead, you're building a story over time.
Okay, so how does that work? We've got cards, we've got Lovecraftian monsters. How does that all come together?
Think of it this way. There are two main decks that drive the story.
Okay.
The Act deck.
Mm-hmm.
This is all about your progress as investigators.
Okay.
It's like a checklist for saving the world.
Gotcha.
Then there's the Agenda deck.
Okay.
That's the bad guy's master plan.
Oh, boy.
And each round, it's ticking closer to unleashing some really terrible stuff.
So it's like a race against time. We're trying to complete our objectives before the mythos unleashes chaos.
Yeah.
I can already feel the pressure.
You gotta stay ahead of them. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, want to talk about some overarching rules? There are two that stand out.
Okay, let's do it.
First, the golden rule.
Yeah.
It basically says the rule book is the law of the land.
All right. Sounds good so far.
But cards can override the rule book.
Okay.
And if a card clashes with the Learn to Play guide,
Right.
card wins.
Just card.
Always trust the cards.
Makes sense. What's the other rule?
The Grim rule.
Okay.
Now, this is where the Lovecraftian fun comes in.
Uh-oh.
If the rules ever get fuzzy,
Mm-hmm.
you always choose the outcome that's worst for the investigators.
Oh, wow.
Adds to the suspense, right?
Definitely raises the stakes. Every decision feels weighty when you know the worst possible thing could happen.
Okay, let's dive into the heart of the game. What's a typical game round like? Each round is a back-and-forth struggle. You've got investigators exploring locations, fighting off terrifying enemies, and desperately searching for clues
Okay.
to stop whatever evil is brewing.
So we're talking investigators
Yeah.
with different skills,
You
maybe
betcha.
some helpful items.
Oh, yeah. They'll need all the help they can get.
Allies.
Uh-huh.
Facing off against these Lovecraftian monsters. And clues are the key to figuring out how to win.
That's it. But wouldn't be Arkham Horror without some chaos and unpredictability.
Of course not.
That's where the mythos phase comes in.
Okay.
Each round, you begin by drawing encounter cards,
All right.
which can throw all sorts of curveballs your way.
Like what?
Could be terrifying new enemies,
Yeah.
obstacles blocking your path, even sometimes a bit of good fortune.
Oh, okay.
You never know what you're going to get.
And I bet there's this constant sense of dread.
Oh, yeah?
This feeling that time is running out, right? Like a ticking time bomb
Exactly.
they're trying to defuse.
Every mythos phase starts by adding doom to the current agenda card.
Mm-hmm.
If that doom hits a certain level, the agenda advances.
Oh.
And things get really bad really fast.
Oh.
It's a constant race against time.
Okay.
And the mythos is always one step ahead.
So how do we fight back against this tide of doom? What can we actually do as investigators?
You've got the investigation phase.
Okay.
It's your chance to take action, push back against the darkness,
Yeah.
where your investigator skills and abilities really come into play.
All right, give me the rundown. What kind of moves can we make during this investigation phase?
Okay, so you've got 3 actions per turn,
Okay.
and you can use them in a bunch of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
You can investigate locations,
Okay.
hoping to uncover those precious clues,
Yeah,
right?
find those clues.
But watch out. Locations have a shroud value.
Shroud value, what's that?
The higher the shroud, the harder it is to investigate.
So it's not just about blindly stumbling around.
No.
We need to be strategic about which locations we investigate.
Exactly.
And when.
Of course, never truly safe in Arkham.
Right.
Always enemies lurking about. Might have to use your actions to fight them head on,
Oh, boy.
or try to evade their clutches.
I can picture it now, facing off against a Shoggoth or some other tentacled horror. It's like those tense moments in a horror movie where you're not sure if you should fight or flee.
And just like a horror movie, every decision matters in Arkham Horror. Because if you're engaged with an enemy and decide to do anything other than fight or evade,
Oh, no.
trigger the dreaded attack of opportunity.
What's that?
That enemy
Yeah.
gets a free attack on you.
Talk about pressure.
They're always watching, waiting to capitalize on any moment of weakness.
Okay, so we've got investigating, fighting, evading. What about moving around this creepy game world? How does movement work?
Movement.
Yeah.
You can spend an action to move between connecting locations.
Okay.
Key for strategic positioning.
Okay, so the map isn't just for show.
Yeah, no.
It's part of the game's strategy.
Absolutely. Each location has its own set of challenges and opportunities.
Right.
Your ability to move between them could be the difference between success and, well, a horrifying demise.
I love how every element of this game seems to be interconnected.
Yeah.
Like a giant web of strategic choices.
It all ties together.
It's not just about fighting monsters, it's about navigating this complex and ever-changing environment.
Exactly. And there's another layer of complexity we haven't touched on yet.
Okay.
Skill tests.
Ooh.
And the infamous chaos bag.
Okay, I've heard whispers about this chaos bag.
Oh, yeah.
People say it's full of unpredictable delights. Fill me in.
Right.
How do skill tests work in this game?
Okay.
And what role does this bag of holding play?
So whenever you attempt an action, like investigating, fighting, or evading,
Right.
you'll need to test one of your investigator skills.
Okay.
We're talking willpower, intellect, combat, and agility.
Gotcha.
Each investigator has a base value for each of these.
So you're basically trying to roll higher than the difficulty of the task at hand.
Right.
Using your investigator skills.
Exactly.
But where does the chaos bag come in?
That's where things get interesting.
Okay.
You commit whatever skill cards you want to improve your odds.
Right.
Then you draw a token from the chaos bag.
Uh-huh.
That's where the fun begins.
Okay.
Could help you, hurt you, or trigger some crazy effect,
Oh, wow.
depending on the scenario you're playing.
So even if I have a super skilled investigator,
Yeah.
a bad draw from the chaos bag could completely ruin my plans. Talk about keeping you on your toes.
That's right. And the tokens themselves, there's a whole range of them.
Okay.
Some have numbers that directly affect your skill value,
Okay.
either boosting you up
Okay.
or dragging you down.
Gotcha.
Then there are tokens with special symbols,
Okay.
trigger unique effects,
All right.
some good, some bad. And of course, there's the dreaded autofill token.
Oh, no, I don't even want to think about that one. But I have to ask about the Elder Sign token.
Yeah.
Is it as powerful as everyone says?
The Elder Sign. A glimmer of hope in this bleak world.
All right.
Drawing this token lets you activate a special ability on your investigator card.
Okay.
You could gain resources, draw cards, or even change the game state in your favor.
That's awesome. It's like a little bit of cosmic intervention.
Right.
Just when you need it most.
Okay, so we've got skill tests, this bag of unpredictable chaos, and we've got investigators running around trying to stay one step ahead of the mythos. But what about the cards themselves?
Yeah.
What are some of the key words and abilities that make this game so unique and strategically deep?
That's what we'll get into next. Hold on tight, because we're about to delve into the fascinating world of Arkham Horror's keywords and abilities. You'll see how they bring the Lovecraftian theme to life and add a whole new layer of strategy to the game. All right, let's unlock some of the secrets behind these keywords.
Okay.
They're like little snippets of flavor text.
That pack a strategic punch,
Okay.
for instance.
Yeah.
Let's imagine you're exploring this darkened mansion,
Okay, it's spooky.
and you stumble upon an enemy with the aloof keyword.
Aloof.
Aloof.
So they're like
Yeah.
too cool for school.
Well, not exactly.
Okay.
Aloof means they're not going to automatically attack you
Right.
when you enter the location.
Okay.
It's more like
Yeah.
they're observing you from the shadows,
Oh.
waiting for the opportune moment to strike.
Okay.
You have to choose to engage them.
So it's a calculated risk.
It is.
You might gain an advantage by engaging them,
Could be.
but you also risk provoking their wrath. It
Exactly.
makes you think twice before rushing into every fight.
For sure.
Are there any keywords
Yeah.
that make those decisions even tougher?
Absolutely. Think about an enemy with the hunter keyword.
Hunter.
Hunter.
Okay.
These guys are relentless.
Oh.
They'll chase you across the map.
Yikes.
Moving toward the nearest investigator, every enemy faint.
Talk about feeling the pressure.
You'll never be able to shake them.
It's like having a shadow constantly looming over you, never knowing when it might strike.
Exactly. Now imagine combining those two keywords.
Oh boy.
You're facing an enemy that's both aloof and a hunter.
Not good.
They're watching you, biding their time,
Mm-hmm.
but the moment you let your guard down,
Yeah.
they'll be on you like a hound on the scent.
Okay. I'm starting to see how these keywords add a whole new layer of strategy to this game.
Right.
It's not just about fighting whatever crosses your path.
No.
It's about understanding your enemies, their
Yeah.
strengths, their weaknesses,
I got to know your enemy.
and knowing when to engage and when to hold back.
Absolutely.
But what about those times when we need a little extra firepower?
Hmm.
How do those special ability cards work?
Okay.
And what should we know about managing resources in this game?
That's where resource management and those all-important uses come into play.
Uses.
Uses, you
Yeah.
see some cards, especially those powerful assets,
Oh,
like weapons or spells.
right.
They have a limited number of charges.
Okay.
Each time you use that card's ability,
Yeah.
you spend one of those charges.
So it's like
Yeah.
having a limited supply of ammunition
Sorry.
or magical energy.
It's a finite resource.
We can't just rely on our strongest abilities all the time.
Nope.
We need to be strategic about when and how we use them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once those charges are gone,
Yeah.
you might need to discard the card or find a way to recharge it.
Okay.
Adds a layer of resource management.
Right.
Really forces you to make tough choices.
Yeah.
Do you hold on to your most powerful cards for a critical moment?
Right.
Or
Yeah.
use them early and risk being caught empty-handed later?
I'm already feeling the tension.
Yeah.
Every decision feels so important in this game.
Every little thing matters.
It's not just about brute force.
No.
It's about carefully managing your resources and playing the long game.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
But what about those abilities that happen?
Outside of our normal turn sequence,
Oh, yeah.
are there any surprises waiting for us there?
There are indeed fast and reaction abilities add a whole new dimension of strategic timing to the game.
Ooh, okay.
Fast abilities.
Yeah.
They're marked by a lightning bolt symbol,
Okay.
can be triggered at specific moments like right before a skill test
Okay.
or in response to a certain event.
So they're like those clutch plays in a sports game.
Exactly.
Those moments where you pull off something unexpected and turn the tide in your favor.
Precisely. And then we have reaction abilities,
Okay.
indicated by a curved arrow.
Right.
These can be triggered in response to specific conditions,
Mm-hmm.
like after you take damage or when an enemy attacks.
Okay, so they're like having a secret weapon up your sleeve,
Yeah,
something you can use to counter your opponent's move
exactly.
or mitigate the damage.
It's a constant game of chess.
I like it.
Always anticipating your opponent's next move and planning your counterattack.
This game is a mental workout.
For sure. But I have to admit, I'm loving the challenge.
It's a good kind of challenge, though.
It's like solving a puzzle, except the pieces keep moving and the stakes are incredibly high.
And don't forget those ever-present weaknesses lurking in your deck.
Weaknesses. Oh, boy, those don't sound good. What can you tell us about them?
All right, so
How do they affect our decks and our overall chances of survival?
think of weaknesses as those nagging doubts,
Okay.
those lingering fears, or those past traumas that can hold you back.
Mm-hmm.
They come in two main flavors.
Two flavors. Okay.
The basic weaknesses, which are randomly assigned during deck building,
Okay.
and campaign weaknesses, which you might pick up during your adventures
Right.
as a consequence of your choices or failures.
So even if we start with a perfectly balanced deck, we're bound to accumulate some baggage along the way.
Oh, yeah,
That sounds like a true test of character.
it is. And they can manifest in all sorts of sneaky ways.
Like what?
Some weaknesses function like encounter cards,
Okay.
triggering nasty effects when you draw them. Others are more like player cards,
Okay.
offering a tempting benefit but with a potentially devastating downside.
Okay, so it's like a double-edged sword.
Exactly.
You might gain something valuable, but at what cost?
Right.
It's like those classic deals with the devil.
Exactly. Weaknesses force you to think carefully about every decision,
Mm-hmm.
every card you play,
Right.
every risk you take.
Yeah.
They can derail your plans,
Oh.
cripple your abilities,
Nice.
and even push you closer to the brink of madness.
This game is not messing around.
Nope.
It's like a psychological thriller playing out on the tabletop.
But I guess that's what makes it so captivating.
Yeah.
You're not just battling monsters.
Right.
You're confronting your own inner demons.
And speaking of confronting demons,
Yes.
let's talk about what happens
Okay.
when those inevitable setbacks occur.
Yeah.
How does this game handle damage, horror, and the potential for being completely defeated?
Damage and horror represent the physical and psychological wounds you accumulate during your investigations.
Okay.
They're tracked with tokens placed right on your investigator card.
And if those tokens pile up too high,
Yeah.
what happens then?
If either your damage or horror reaches or exceeds your investigator's health or sanity,
Oh, boy.
well, let's just say it doesn't end well.
Okay.
Your investigator is defeated and eliminated from the scenario.
Ouch. So it's like a constant tug of war
It is.
between our resilience and the overwhelming power of the mythos.
Exactly. And here's where campaign play gets even more interesting.
Okay. So.
In a standalone game,
Mm-hmm.
defeat might mean game over,
Right.
but in a campaign,
Yeah.
Defeat has consequences that linger,
Uh,
depending on how you were taken down.
yeah.
You might suffer physical or mental trauma
Okay.
that carries over to future scenarios.
So it's not just about surviving each individual scenario. It's
Right.
about managing your investigators' long-term well-being as
Exactly.
they journey deeper into the heart of darkness.
It adds a whole new layer of strategic thinking. Right. You need to consider the long-term consequences of your actions.
Yeah.
Every choice you make, every risk you take,
Right.
could leave a lasting mark on your investigator.
Okay, so it's not just a game of skill and strategy, it's a
Right.
game of resilience and adaptation.
That's it.
You need to be able to roll with the punches, learn from your mistakes,
Yes.
and keep pushing forward even when the odds are stacked against you.
That's the spirit.
Yeah,
Arkham Horror is not for the faint of heart.
I've been learning that.
But those who persevere,
Yeah.
they're rewarded with an incredibly immersive and challenging experience.
Okay.
One that will test your limits and leave you with stories you'll never forget.
I'm starting to understand why this game has such a devoted following.
Yeah.
It's not just about winning or losing.
It's about the experience.
It's about experiencing a story,
Yeah.
facing your fears,
Right.
and discovering what you're truly made of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But before we dive too deep into existentialism,
Okay.
let's talk about those moments of triumph.
Right, let's do it.
How does the game handle victory?
Yeah.
And what's the deal with those victory points I've heard so much about?
Okay, let's talk about those sweet, sweet victories.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, battling cosmic horrors,
Right.
it can't be all doom and gloom.
Gotta have a little bit of hope.
There's got to be some light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Absolutely. Victory in Arkham Horror is all about racking up those victory points.
Okay.
Think of them as
Yeah.
proof of your success
Okay.
in fighting back those forces of darkness.
So it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving, about showing those cosmic horrors who's boss.
You got it.
Yeah.
And those points aren't just for bragging rights.
Okay.
In campaign play,
Yeah.
those victory points transform into experience points,
Right.
which you can use to upgrade your deck.
So it's like a reward system,
It is.
a way to acknowledge our triumphs and make us even stronger for the next battle.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. It's like leveling up in a video game, but with way more cosmic dread.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of campaign play,
Yeah.
let's revisit those act and agenda decks we talked about earlier.
Okay.
They're really the driving force
Yeah.
behind the narrative and the structure of the game.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how those decks create this kind of tug of war
Right.
between the investigators and the mythos.
Yeah.
A constant back and forth struggle for control.
You're right on the money. The act deck is like your roadmap to victory,
Okay.
outlining the steps
Yeah.
you need to take to achieve that favorable outcome.
Okay.
The agenda deck, on the other hand,
Yeah.
that's the ticking clock of doom,
Oh, boy.
constantly pushing you towards a potentially catastrophic ending.
So it's a race against time.
It is.
We're trying to complete our objectives before the mythos unleashes some kind of apocalyptic event.
That's the thrill of it.
Yeah.
And as you progress through each deck,
Yeah.
the story unfolds.
Yeah, okay.
New challenges arise.
Right.
And the tension just keeps building, creating a truly immersive experience.
Okay, so I'm starting to get the big picture.
Yeah.
But there's still a couple of details I'm curious about. Like, how do we actually move around this creepy game world?
Okay.
We've talked about locations and connections,
Right.
but I'm still a little fuzzy
Yeah.
on how it all works in practice.
It's all about those connection symbols.
Okay.
You see on the location cards,
Right.
think of them like roads or paths,
Mhm.
linking those different locations together.
Okay.
You spend an action to move between connecting locations.
So the game board isn't just a static backdrop.
No,
It's a dynamic environment.
It is.
We need to navigate carefully, choosing our paths wisely
Exactly.
and anticipating the consequences of every move.
Every move you make
Right.
could trigger new encounters, reveal new locations,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you could stumble into unexpected danger.
This game never lets you get too comfortable, does it?
Keeps you on your toes.
It's like every step you take could lead you closer to victory or closer to a terrifying demise.
That's the beauty of Arkham Horror.
Okay, last question
Yeah.
before we wrap up.
Cute.
We've talked about how investigators need resources
They need a lot of
to
resources.
do pretty much anything in this game,
It's true.
from playing cards to activating abilities.
Right.
But how do we actually get our hands on those precious resources?
So there are a few ways to replenish your resource pool.
Okay.
One of the most straightforward is
Yeah.
by taking the resource action during your turn.
Okay.
It's a reliable way to steadily build up your resources.
So it's like carefully budgeting your money,
Exactly.
making sure you have enough to cover those essential expenses. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But what if we need a bigger boost?
Uh-huh.
Like if we're facing a particularly tough challenge
Yeah.
and need some extra firepower.
Some cards have abilities
Okay.
that let you generate resources more quickly,
All right.
either as a reward for completing a task or as a way to recover from a setback.
Okay, cool. And don't forget about the upkeep phase at the end of each round,
Oh, yeah, that's important.
where you'll draw a new card and gain a single resource.
Just to keep you going,
Ah, the upkeep phase.
like a breath of fresh air.
It's like a moment of respite before the next wave of cosmic horror crashes down upon us.
Exactly.
A chance to catch our breath, gather our resources, and prepare for the next challenge.
Crucial part of the game's rhythm.
Yeah.
Allows you to recover from those harrowing encounters, replenish your resources, and get ready to face whatever horrors await you in the next round.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
And I'm feeling much more prepared to dive into the world of Arkham Horror.
Awesome.
You've demystified the rulebook,
Yeah, hopefully.
explained the key concepts,
Try to.
and given us a solid foundation for embarking on our own Lovecraftian adventures.
There you go.
It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Remember, the most important thing
Yeah.
is to have fun.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to experiment.
Try different things.
Try different strategies.
Yeah.
And embrace the unpredictable nature of the game.
Embrace the chaos.
And don't forget that glossary in the rulebook.
Oh, yeah, that's a good tip.
It's a lifesaver for those moments when you encounter a rule you don't quite understand
Right.
or a keyword that leaves you scratching your head.
You know what's really exciting about Arkham Horror?
What's that?
Even after you've mastered the basic rules,
Mm-hmm.
there's always more to learn.
Okay,
Each scenario offers unique challenges.
right.
The campaign structure keeps you engaged
Yes.
with its evolving narrative
Mm-hmm.
and those lasting consequences we talked about.
It's a game that keeps on giving.
It does.
And as you delve deeper into the world of Arkham Horror,
Yeah.
you'll encounter this rich tapestry of lore,
Mhm.
characters, and monsters
For sure.
that will fuel your imagination and keep you coming back for more.
Well said. So to all you brave investigators out there,
Yes.
gather your courage, sharpen your wits,
Okay.
and prepare to face the unknown. The mysteries of Arkham await.
Until next time, dear listeners,
So long.
may your investigations be fruitful, your choices be wise, and your sanity remain intact.